Hi Kezia, this is Connor. We're gonna just do one video for this assignment. We thought it would be easier than doing two and just trying to get everything together. It's gonna be a little bit informal, and I have a bit of a cough, so sorry about that. So for this assignment, we wanted to focus on using PowerPoint to make presentations to teach our students how to do that. But more globally, our assignment is based on a PBL or PJBL. Um, we kind of hit both about the Canadian Arctic, so we're calling it an Arctic expedition, and we're going to teach them that through the use of a web quest. So to start with Gagne's events, it's to gain attention. So again, this is just for our main assignment that we're focusing on here before we get into the PowerPoint, and that's just to gain attention. So we thought, again, we're using technology, so we just thought just a simple video that shows a glimpse of life in the Arctic with some music would be something just they could look at in groups, or we could watch as a class before we start. And this is just a little clip of it. So again, that's just to gain their attention. It's just there's a lot of cool stuff in that video, and maybe the music will kind of wake them up. So that's our event one. So event two, we're explaining the goal to the students. So we're going to do both the goal for the PowerPoint, which is how to use a PowerPoint to present information. So that's what we want them to be able to do, and that's what they're going to be doing with this project-based assignment that we're giving them, which is about learning more about the Canadian Arctic environment. And later on in the course, we would be learning how humans impact the environment, so the theme of global warming, and we would discuss ways to reduce our impact. So to start, because we want them to use PowerPoint, so we want to get their prior knowledge. This is event three. So we're simply just asking, who knows what PowerPoint is? Have they ever made one? And how is it useful? So any students who do know, they can share what they already know. And then we're going to dedicate a small lesson later to teaching every other student as well. So for the second part of the assignment, or the bigger web quest part, as a class, we're having students share what they already know about the Arctic. So this could be anything from the plants up there, the vegetation, the people, the climate, and they're going to list everything they have to say. They can do it. We can do it as a class, or they can create lists individually. So for the PowerPoint practice, so to ensure that the students actually know how to use PowerPoint, we're setting aside some time to go over just the basics. And we're allowing students to practice in class. We're using our question based from our prior knowledge about the Arctic, that's how they're going to be able to practice before they do it for real. So we're going to have them create a PowerPoint presentation based on their prior knowledge and that question we've already asked. So to get started with the basics, we would just show them a video or give them a document where it had the picture step by step how to create the PowerPoint. So this one would just be simply opening the PowerPoint to the main slides, picking a theme as you can see at the top here, and then next simply making a title. We just titled it my presentation. The next one would be how to create more slides, which depending on the software could be just a simple button, or in this one you actually have to right click and create a new slide that way. The different types of slides offered, so we have the text slides, title slides, picture slides, or the combination of the two. This would be inserting images because we'd want them to be doing that when they're making the final presentation. So for example, we just chose elk for our example, so they'd be showing the picture and then putting whatever information, again, their prior knowledge that they already know about whatever they choose, they decide. And then these are transition slides where they can learn how to use those for their presentation as well. And then we'd have their presentation, they'd be able to do it as a class, share what they've learned, any difficulties they had, and we could go over it together. So for the actual PBL exercise, again, we're using a web quest, and we're kind of basing it off the systems model where we have one global task and then we're dividing it into many subtasks to make it easier to handle. In our case, we're having the students work independently and then come together later, and then we're having a formative, not really a test, but just assessment where I'll get more into the journal questions later, but just to make sure the students have actually done the task, we want something concrete that they have to do, and we just made a small rubric just about the accompanying journal and how they were able to share the information with their peers. So first, what is a web quest? So we found that it's an activity wherein students use information provided by the teacher to complete a task. And it's important to remember that they're not actually searching for this information on their own. This teacher has in advance found the links or the information that they'll need to answer the questions or to guide them toward the desired response, and students just simply follow what the teacher has given. So they're used to help students go above and beyond in their learning topic. And they should also, well, good web quests we found require students learn on their own and then come and share their knowledge together. So for so for our lesson, we were thinking it would be best for maybe grades 9 and 10, and students are learning about various themes throughout the year, and the current theme would be the environment, so we've chosen again the Arctic for that. So in the ideal world, we're having access to a classroom that includes computer lab and smaller workspaces where they can work if they don't need the computer. So this is kind of a picture we drew where, again, the computer lab part and then maybe just some work area where they can work if they need it. So the aims for this assignment, again, is just to learn more in depth and enhance their knowledge about the topic we chose. So for the students, to use the information provided to work individually and then come together and collaborate their work in a group. So we kind of divide it into two parts. We're focusing more on the first part right now, which is the PowerPoint section that we've already taught. So groups come together and present their information that they've discovered on their own to the class using a PowerPoint. So we've already learned how to use PowerPoint, and they just need to find this information in order to make a presentation later on. So students are divided into 4 main teams by the teacher, and it can be done whatever way you want. And once in groups, students decide which subtopics they want to work on. So we're going to give them main topics. This is an example of something we have laid out, just really simple. So the main topics could be land animals, sea animals, native people, climate, vegetation. Students branch out independently, and let's say for land animals, for the short little web quest we created, we decided like caribou, musk oxen, wolves, and polar bears. So a student would get the topic individually, learn everything they can using the links provided, and answer the journal questions provided, come together as a group, so it's like a jigsaw. They'll teach their group what they've learned, so they all become experts on land animals. They'll create a presentation using PowerPoint with the guide we've created for them earlier on, and present that to the class, and then by the end of it, everyone will know kind of about the Arctic. So that's basically what I've just explained. So working individually, becoming experts, coming together, and this is just part 2, which we won't focus on so much right now, but it would be understanding how global warming affects their respective topic, and then creating another presentation with another piece of technology. And this is when we would kind of send them on their Arctic expedition. So I have a bit of an example here. So this would be the climate and vegetation one, team 4. So let's say you have plants, you give them the links, journal questions, and that's what they would answer. The information is in these links. They can answer any of these questions with the links provided. They don't actually go search on their own. So we have icebergs as another one, northern lights, the Arctic sun and the seasons. So again, they're just learning all about climate and vegetation. And the good thing about this activity is it can be adapted depending on the amount of students in the class. So if you have more students or fewer students, you can just keep adding more topics. And those are just the rubrics I already showed. Okay, so they're on their Arctic expedition. So the from each of the readings, what we thought worked really well using technology was provided guided learning. So again, that use of links, where you're just sending the students out to use the links to find information and learn in that way, as opposed to having them search through books, which could take forever. And they'd have to carry the books around, and looking through them would be really difficult. And if you lost your space, whereas the links, just click on it and there you go. So the effectiveness, links provide precise information that can be presented in a far more interesting way than if the teacher were just to present the information, because again, we're using videos or articles or appropriate for their level, but that demonstrate the topic really well, probably better than we could do it ourselves. Performance-wise, because the teacher does not need to teach this information, they can spend more time actually circulating the classroom and helping the students who need it. Productivity. The links required to teach the information are gathered in advance. So again, that whole idea of it's just a really effective tool to spend more time. So we're guiding them with the links and actually we're actually able to facilitate their learning as opposed to just presenting what they need to learn. As for the PBL assignment, technology allows us quick access to a huge range of information, which is really effective because the onus is no longer on us to present the material to the students. We just need to find the links, just make sure the information is there, and then send them on our way. Performance-wise, allows the teacher to be more easily organized. It allows the teacher to more easily organize the task, so it's easier to complete. And so I guess in that sense, it's organized in links. So I mean, let's say if students are in groups, they're only sent that one document. They're not overloaded with all this information. They know what topic they have. They choose their subtopic, and everything's together. And all they need to do is follow their respective links, and it just keeps them from becoming overwhelmed, which I'll mention later. Productivity, technology allows students to gather information quickly and in order to complete the task. So again, they don't have to spend their time searching through books. It's just click the link and you found the information. So the systems model, we chose breaking the lesson content into chunks, which we found technology, even if you didn't use technology, this could still be done relatively easily, but we just said that the information can be more easily moved around and rearranged because we're using links and not writing things down and making handouts. So again, if you need to adapt it for any reason or change the links, all you need to do is just quick search on the internet, find the link, copy paste, and you're not spending time making new documents and constantly creating new material. You're just updating it that's what technology allows us to do. So again, it makes it more adaptable. Performance-wise, it's much less overwhelming and managing for the students because they work individually, come together as a group. They only need to focus on what they're given. Productivity-wise, more work can get done in a shorter period of time since students are accessing small amounts of information and then coming together and share. So they're not responsible for learning everything. They have one part to play, and then that that adds to the class as a whole. They're responsible for their one part, and then they end up learning about everything by the end if everyone does their job. So overall, the effectiveness of technology in this assignment or this PBL is being able to prepare previously made material, so not from the internet, so it's not us making the material, it's something people have already done, so we've done it in advance and it's really effective because we don't need to know the information. It's already out there, and it can be in an engaging format depending on what links you find. Performance-wise, the material chosen is based on the level of the students, so that's the discretion of the teacher. They need to choose the appropriate links, but it's also very clear and can be looked at again and again. So like our PowerPoint example from the beginning, if a student didn't get something or they move at a slower pace, all they need to do is just re-watch or reread the document we send them. And productivity, information online can be accessed from multiple locations. It doesn't require physical copies of text or information, so if a student forgets something, just hop on a computer anywhere if they're at home or at school, and they can access that information, no problem. So as for the value of technology in this lesson overall, we do think it improves the lesson. Again, the PowerPoint example. So it allows us to, like I already said, we create that document, students can look at it as many times as they want until they can actually remember the information or retain the information, and then they can do what they will with it. As for the PBL, it gives us huge access to a variety of information related to the topic we want the students to learn. The information is prepared in advance and allows the teacher more time to facilitate learning rather than presenting what students have to learn. And yep, that's the end of our presentation. I think we've covered everything, but overall, technology we didn't rely on it too heavily, but it's really made this assignment more effective for us, we believe. And that's it. Thank you very much. Bye.